back. Do what I should, man. Point back. Do what I could, man. Point back. I should, back. Could, point back. I should, point back. Could.
And we're back with another episode of Controlled Chaos. This one is going to be a special one. It's a mini pod, better known as a Sean Screen Rant, where I'm basically just going to sit here and talk in front of the mic, beat old head, talk about what I want to do, what I don't want to do, what's annoying, what new trendy shit is going on. First off, I'll give you a little background. Again, my name is Sean Smith. I'm the owner and operator of Chaoslab here in Richmond, Virginia. We are a 8,300 square foot facility dedicated to strictly strength sports. I say that because we do have a heavy emphasis on powerlifting, but really we want anyone and everyone to succeed here. So if you're a bodybuilder, CrossFit, strongman, average gym goer, we want you here. Along with that, I am also the meet director for USAPL Virginia along with Saber Schnitzer, and I am the WRPF meet director, and I run most of the meets from the west side of the state, which would include Blacksburg, Radford, Virginia, coming over through Lynchburg to Richmond on to, kind of go down to the Tidewater a little bit. I have a friend, Kim, who will be running meets out there like once a year, so I'll be helping her this September down there. And then we do travel a little bit north. Really don't need to go north, so I might only stay up towards Fredericksburg with that. I am also still a powerlifter myself. I am competing in the 125 kg class when it comes to WRPF because I like the squat bar, I like the deadlift bar, and for me, that's just what feels great. Along with that, the atmosphere is kind of nice. For most of the WRPF meets that you actually get to see, it's high energy music. Crowds are usually more into it. You see a little bit more of a energy when it comes to the athletes. Saying that, I would go into what I say about USAPL. For the most part, what I've been introduced to is a very commercialized view of it, which means you get the highest quality product. You get to see a great spectacle when it comes to the video walls, the screen, images. The meet runs on time. It runs, sometimes you get out early, which is fantastic. No one wants to be in a meet for 8 hours. People, have some issues with the standards of the sport. I'll get into that later because I don't feel like talking about that right this minute. But there's a lot of robotics to it. Like, people do have passion. Don't get me wrong. There is energy. There is a team aspect that I really like. But a lot of times what you do end up feeling is it's a family friendly. So there's not like cursing in the music. There's not a lot of raw emotion after because you have to stay reserved in order to know if you actually did get that call or not. Because it's not for certain. Going into that, it's kind of like professionalized, like I said, commercial, but professional in a way that you don't just get raw emotion. Everyone's pretty much locked in to the fullest extent, or they're honestly just very nervous and don't want to do anything at that moment. So I'll lead that into what I kind of do with USAPL when it comes to this gym. Starting out, I've only exposed to USAPL with my good friend Clay. He competed in there. We've been to one of my friend's gyms called The Shop up in Ashburn and Northern Virginia. We've seen a lot of great meets up there. Clay's a really good powerlifter, so I've seen a lot of high-level meets. I've seen a lot of cool spectacles like the Virginia Semi-Pro, the States, Winter Wrecker, Holiday Havoc, all of that. I didn't get introduced to Saber until the end of 2021, maybe end of 2022. No, 2021, because at States for Clay, I ended up actually having a conversation with him and asking him, his opinion on other federations. And let me tell you, that man will let you know his entire thought process behind everything. There is nothing that you will not understand after meeting with him. He is a very to the point, cutthroat kind of guy because he's an ex-Marine, tech savvy, and he really does not care how you think about him after the conversation, nor does he really care to not put his full thought into something. Meaning, if he says you were high, you had a bad day lifting, or even if you had a great day lifting, you have set some PRs, he might say that the day was too easy for you. He might actually say that you should have done something that was going to be a little bit more challenging and competing at a different meet that he's running. But no matter what, his meets are 10 out of 10. So going back to what I said earlier, we'll just go ahead and cut right back into it with the talks of the calls and the refs. The main issue that you see with the meets, set apart from the music, like I said, the logistics of the meet run perfect. You cannot beat that no matter who you are, what federation, what level you're at, because he puts every single ounce, sweat of blood, sweat, and tears into this project. He puts all of his money into it. Like, he just bought a $35,000 wall that he will not let you leave here without saying that he bought it for the sport. But when it comes to officiating, he tends to have this drill sergeant appeal that makes other refs who are not used to that type of mentality overcall things. So when I say overcall, I mean that if you even have the slightest hint of a soft knee, a soft shoulder, if you even have part of your thigh jiggle the wrong way on the sliding up of a deadlift, you're getting called. There's no lifter's benefit. Like, you're supposed to have the benefit of the lifter in it. So people who aren't familiar with powerlifting, which if you're listening to this podcast, you probably aren't, but the benefit going towards the lifter is that if you cannot see the full extent of the squat, if you cannot see any daylight under the person's butt when they are benching, if you cannot see anything that is cause for a disqualification or red light, then you don't call it. You give it to the lifter. You give them white. We're not here to ruin someone's day and all their hard work and progress just because we thought we saw something. Or they might have done it this time, but they didn't do it last time. It's, you call it as you see it. If I see someone go down in this squat and for some reason a spotter's leg happens to get in the way, the call goes towards the lifter. I don't care what the first squat before that looked like. I don't care if it's the third squat and I've seen two high ones before that. On that lift in particular, my view is blocked. As per in the rule book, in any rule book actually, it's not just USAPO, I will give the benefit of the doubt to the lifter. When it comes to certain aspects of anatomy, some people have long and short moment arms, so how they squat is completely different from one person to the next. I'm a very short, stocky person. I have a very short moment arm, which means that from my ankle to my knee and my knee to my hip joint, it's a pretty short distance, and it all looks like I just collapsed down. Versus if you have someone who is 6'3", and they have very long legs, they're going to have a long moment arm, which means that when they sit into that squat, it's going to look like they're sitting back into a chair, and or they have to split their knees extremely wide in order to sit down in what we consider a parallel position or below parallel, because we're trying to aim for below parallel, but sometimes people just cut it right at it. But we're looking for the hip crease to be below the knee, the top of the knee joint. The top of the knee joint is usually defined by part of your kneecap, your patella tendon, and you might have a part of your quad that will stretch over. And the part of your quad that will stretch over is that little itty part near your teardrop, is what some bodybuilders would call it. So we're just looking for you to get past that. So if that hip joint where I am marking you when you're walking up, basically, I will look and see where your hip is. And then from that point forward, if that hip joint goes below, you got it. It's not going to be in question. Many times people have to defend their calls, which is ridiculous. But if you understand anatomy, if you understand how this sport works, you give the benefit to the lifter because we're trying to grow the sport and have a good outcome, and you should be having fun. But if not, then you're going to have a lot of trouble. You're going to get a lot of backlash. The issue I also find with USAPL when it comes to these calls is that the lifters, instead of going to the refs and making a complaint or going to the meet director, they'll just go online and say that, well, this person doesn't care, this person doesn't care. It's like, well, did you physically go talk to them? Did you actually, after the call was made, walk up and ask, what did you see? Why did I get called for this? Now, the ref can give you a 10-second, 30-second, or if they want to later in the day come back and give you a full 30-minute explanation, that's up to them. We're just trying to make you better for the next time and make sure that you're successful on the platform. So, is Sabre receptive to the criticism that happens? Yes and no. And I understand both sides because, like I said, he comes off as a very drill sergeant-like, my way or the highway, fuck off if you don't believe what I believe. But, like I said, he cares about this sport so deeply that he is trying to make you the best lifter possible by putting those obstacles in your way and then having you be ready for them. So he knows that in order for Virginia lifters to qualify for nationals, it has to come through him. He doesn't want lifters bombing out at nationals, getting called for, like, all Virginia lifters are so high, or all Virginia lifters have soft knees when they deadlift, or they never know how to straighten their elbows at the beginning of a bench. No, these lifters are ready because they've been through strict calling. They've been through the ringer. Most times you'll see that our rulings are a little bit more strict than national. Like, there's a lot of stuff that gets rushed through on the national, which is just in itself something ridiculous, but it happens everywhere. It happens in the NFL games. In the Super Bowl, there's a lot of calls that would never get called or would get called that don't get called in a regular season game. That's just sports. If you want this to be a sport, let it be a sport, which means it comes with the criticism, it comes with the mistakes, it comes with the, bipartisan judgment here. I just don't like the internet part of it. Because, one, if you're not going to say it to my face, then it doesn't mean anything to me. Or I'm trying not to respond to you. You can say whatever you want online, but you earned the call on the platform. And it's pretty cut dry in the rule book. There is no gray area. The gray area only applies to some gear, such as knee sleeves, belts, singlets, or, how you interpret, the competition aspect of the meet, which can be like how you can challenge a call with so many red or white lights, or if you can have something overturned by paying a fee to the meet director, like stuff like that. There's no gray rules. If you squat and you go below your hip joint, below that, that knee, you're fine. If you will stand erect, get that squat command, squat, come back up and lock your knees again, you're going to get all white lights. If you don't adhere to those rules, you're not getting all white lights. But you know what's awesome about this sport? You only need 2. So just try not to fuck up. And if you do, fix it. Don't bitch. All this people do now is bitch. I mean, seriously, like, refs are some of the most dedicated to the sport because not only are they your friends and family who are a part of the sport by participating in it, but they also volunteer their time on the weekends to travel, to come out instead of going to the pool or to the bar or to concerts, to amusement parks. They're sitting here for like 8 hours because they get here 2 hours. At least I make my refs get here 2 hours early in order to help set up, get ready for the day, and then get in position. I also go over rules briefing, so it's not the most high-paying job. To be fully transparent, I pay refs about 100 to 125 base. It depends on how big the meet is. Like 30-person meet, that's 2 flights of 15. I will usually pay about 125 for the refs and the spot load team. That being said, there's a lot of people that don't get paid at all when it comes to other federations and other meet directors because they're just cheap as fuck. I'm not letting someone just volunteer. If, like, you can volunteer all you want, but when that Venmo hits your account, or if I hand you cash, you're going to take it because you earned it. Like, you sweat your ass off, or you sat in the chair all day making sure that this sport is official so people can have records set, so they can have these meets sanctioned, so they can have a chance to qualify for the bigger meets. Like, you earn the pay for the day. Should it be more? I definitely think so, but in order for that to happen, we have to raise prices and everything else, which most lifters don't want to do. So in order for me to be able to pay people the high rate that I pay people, because I'll even pay more for people who travel, or I'll pay for hotels for people, or I'll pay for, dinner or lunch. I mean, I do lunch and breakfast usually for lifters and everybody. Spotters, not lifters. Sorry, you don't get food if you're a lifter. There's just so much you can do, and what I do to help move that cost around is I will purchase shirts that are sold beforehand. I'll up the spectator cost because going up $5 is going to help us save long term in order to be able to keep doing this the way we want to do it. I'm not able to run the meets I want to run the meets because I'm being handicapped and handcuffed because I have to pay people. People deserve to be paid. I'm also not one to go into extravagance when it comes to different things. I don't need a smoke machine. I don't need lasers. I have a couple banners, a couple curtains. It's a pretty sweet setup. I have some fantastic speakers. And really, I just try to set the atmosphere for what I would want. I would want to walk out to a hype crowd with some hype music. I don't give a fuck where it's at. I really just don't care about all the other little nitty gritty stuff. What we're doing here, though, by partnering with Saber is implementing this wall, which again is a testament to his, passion and his commitment to this sport. You want us to make it the best it can be. Like, if some people may never actually qualify for a national meet, you know what's just as fucking good and ran just as well? The Winter Wrecker, Virginia State Championships, fucking Shamrock Showdown here, Battle of the Beach and Iron Asylum. And I'm pretty sure we're going to keep doing this Mega Novice meet up in Manassas at the Manassas Theater, whatever it is. Like, those have all the production quality of a nationals, and we provide Chaoslab Media or TSG, events in order to make sure that you get your videos, your pictures, your live stream. We're making sure that the lights and everything is exactly the way it needs to be in order to have that atmosphere. The idea behind that, again, it's for the lifters. Do most people zone out and don't care in the end? Sometimes, yeah. But you look back on it, it's some of your fondest memories is that you basically competed in a national event with some of your best friends, and you had your family watch. For me, like, I'm going to be going to St. Louis, Missouri this October to compete at nationals. It's going to be a cool little venue. It's going to be a nice atmosphere, but like, I won't have my friends and family there. I'll have a couple people I know. I don't really think my family wants to fly to Missouri, just like I don't think people would want to fly to Salt Lake City, Utah, if I went the USAPL route, which I could. So it's nice that we're doing this for these type of lifters, these type of meets. And like I said, with partnering with Saber, we're going to try and bring that over to WRPF. That way the people who enjoy the squat bar, deadlift bar, like myself, get to experience the same thing. Because honestly, there's some meets here that will rival, the nationals for WRPF, the American Pro, Ghost Clash, any of those. Like, we're still trying to compete and get better. It's like watching film. We're going to make sure that we are going to see what other people are doing. How can we make it better? And copy and paste a successful method and keep adding to what we're doing. Really, just pondered that a second. It's interesting how we've been doing this for now 2.5 years, and I feel like I've been doing it for 10. There's a lot of people who believe I've been doing it for longer, and I really haven't. I've just been around the sport for 3.5 years, if that. I'm just very enamored by everything when it comes to it. Most people know I was a college athlete, so a lot of that just carryover. Because if you think I'm very passionate about powerlifting, you should have seen me in college football. I could have promised you I was going to the league. And just that's just not how life works sometimes. Life takes you in different directions. But while I'm here, I'm definitely going to make the most of it. I've met a lot of great people, had this facility, which I'm very thankful for, to be able to train and have all the equipment and have the ability to compete in my own backyard, in a sense. We're gonna take things up a notch, though. I feel like we're going to. First step, though, is making it through this year, getting rid of this building, because I absolutely cannot stand it. Well, it's the management I don't stand, but that's a different topic for a different day on a different screen rant. And, we'll just get it better and better each time. Going into something else I've noticed a ton, and I'm ready to rant about for the next, 10 or so minutes. I'm going to keep this episode 30, 40 minutes long, so it's fine. But I hate this trend of people falling in and out of the sport. And I know that I'm young in this sport, so I can't really testify to being here for so long and not dropping out myself or experiencing some kind of injury or the burnout or anything, but it's just not something I have, is the ability to quit. I will remove myself from situations I don't think it's best for me and continue down a different path when it comes to careers. But I've never quit on a sports team. I've never really just given up. That's just not something I do. Or say that I'm going to come back later knowing that this is just an easy way out. I have been doing this since 2021. This is basically year 3 when it's all said and done. And there's so many workouts, so many reps and things that I've done to get to this point. I can't imagine looking back at myself when I started and telling myself, yeah, by year 3, you're going to want to go try something else. You feel like you're just tired of it. And it's like, no, it's not what we do. I came in because I wanted to be really great at something. So I'm going to keep at it until I'm great at it. Or if you came in for social aspects and everything else, it's great that you kind of want to walk away from the training part, I guess. But the reason why you have the social group you have or the trips and memories you've made is because you were in the gym with them. It's hard for me to connect with someone I'm not with the majority of the time. That's actually one of my biggest pet peeves about myself, is that I am very bad about reaching out and making sure I can keep connections open, because honestly, if you're not in my, I guess, blinders, as you would look at a racehorse, I got to keep you near me in order for you to be in my life at the current stage I'm at. I can reconnect with anyone on the drop of a hat, but it's so much better and a stronger connection if I am with you all the time. So like people I train with, people I'm training, people I am doing these competitions with or traveling with, like those connections are the strongest. I could never think about walking away from any of that, even if it's for a short bit. Like maybe I want to go running for a while and join a run club or do whatever. It's like, at the end of the day though, like it's cool, but why am I needing a break from it? What has become the issue that is making me want to not do it as much? Is it me not having progress? Is it someone is ruining the fun? Like what? I would rather get down to the root of the issue and get back to enjoying what I do versus leaving. Especially when I've achieved success. There's so many lifters who have achieved success and they're done. Where they come out, they have 1 or 3 great meets, they put up some high dot score, they get a little bit of local fame, and then they just are gone. Oh, they stopped training. They just started surfing, and it's like, oh, that's cool, I guess. Wish you were still here. But there's people with like legitimate reasons. So, just like the 3 people I can think off the top of my head, it's Dan Bell retired essentially for a year. He had a very bad knee and hip issue, I believe he had in that Texas Pioneer Open in 2023, like early 2023, and he just took the rest of the year off. He's taken most of this year off. I think he had a mock meet, and then he's going to do the ABS Pro later on overseas. Like, he just needed time to actually heal. He had trained for so long and so hard with no breaks that not only was his mental kind of lacking, it's just his body was broken. So he took time off. Completely understand that. I completely get it. And once he got fixed and he aligned everything with his life perfectly the way he needed to in order to get back in, he's back in. I look at someone recent, Denise Herber. She had the similar thing. She's been doing this for a while. She's one of the top in her game. She just broke the deadlift world record down at Ghost Clash. And then she's preparing for another meet and traveling, and her like best friend of a cat passed away, and then that was it. She said that mentally that just ruined everything, because that was her peace when she got home, is that you can go to war and fight against yourself and fight demons, whatever you got to do when you come in the gym and get your work done, but you also need that thing outside of here that's going to bring you comfort and relaxation. Some people, that's your spouse, that's your partner. I personally love my cat Wilson. So I would feel the same way if Wilson were to pass away. I would probably consider it too, just because no matter what I do in the gym, no matter what I do at work as the gym owner, no matter what I do as the meet director, I can go home to my spouse and to my cat and just relax. I'm not the same person at home that I am here. So losing one of those two items, I can understand needing a break and leaving too. The third one, it was this kid. Oh man, his is leaving me. But anyways, his story basically is blows up on the scene, really lightweight. I believe he was in 82, but he could be a 75 or whatever the main category is. And squats like 600, deadlifts 600 plus, benching close to 4. So like a just phenomenal athlete. And I think the kid was only like 18. By the time they reached, 20, they were like, I'm burned out, I think I'm just going to take a break for a while. Then they started getting into bodybuilding. They did like one show, didn't place great, but they looked great. That's just how bodybuilding is. It's very subjective. And then all of a sudden, they were like, oh, yeah, it's been 4 months since I've recorded anything. I really just been living life, not caring. And it's like, oh, damn, I was kind of following your journey. Now that's just it. That sucks. It sucks on the consumer aspect. But I mean, again, I guess you find what your vices need. But it couldn't be me. It just could not be me. I'm going to go into this last segment here, just for the end off the episode, I guess. I'm going to talk a little bit about, so I was going to do sports, but, let me go into sports. Because it's a little bit better of an ending than talking about the Chaos Lab on the Chaos Lab podcast in the Chaos Lab with the Chaos Lab owner. Like, a bit redundant, isn't it? So currently right now in sports, we have this giant debate about Caitlin Clark. Phenomenal basketball player, Iowa superstar, future Hall of Famer for the college basketball women's Hall of Fame, and currently sitting as one of the top 5 rookies, current Olympic snub. So the highly tested debate is, if anyone doesn't know who Caitlin Clark is, like I said, she has all the accolades. She brings millions upon millions of viewers to the game. I believe the statistic was that the WNBA championship had under 100,000 views or something in their NBA championship. And you had the Iowa versus South Carolina women's college basketball championship, which featured Caitlin Clark, had like 14 million. So they were saying that just now, every game that she plays in, it's sold out. They've had to move to bigger arenas. The ticket prices have increased, and they're still needing more space. They're getting so many more viewers. Her jersey has been sold out since she got drafted. Which, by the way, I don't know if you knew this or not. Once the college basketball playoffs are over and the tournament's done, there is 2.5 weeks until the fucking WNBA draft. They get 2.5 to 3 weeks to just relax after winning and or losing the championship game, to then get drafted, shipped up to the next team, because in 2 to 3 weeks from there, they're already in fucking preseason. Who the fuck made this schedule? I understand that male sports dominates the market just because of viewership, but like now, with superstars like Caitlin Clark coming in, we got to change the narrative here and start moving the schedule around to where it's actually, advantageous for people to watch. And the reason why most people are watching is because of Caitlin Clark. You have some of the other stars that are out there, like Caitlin Clark's teammate Lauren, or not Lauren. Yeah, no, I believe it is Lauren. You have, Kiki Rose. You have Flage. You have Camilla. There's plenty of names from the rookie class to watch, but for her, it seems like the stardom is very comparable to LeBron James, where you have so many teams vying for this person. She goes number 1 overall. Arenas are being sold out. Jerseys are being sold out. And she's catching so much hate from the older generation. It's like she's not that good. And it's like, well, you're comparing her to the stats of the greatest person in her position who's still playing, Diana Rossi. and she leads every single category except for steals. Caitlin Clark is a guard. Primarily, she's going to be stealing, shooting, and assisting the ball. So if she is dogging her in 2 out of the 3 best categories, along with, 5 of the other 6 categories, then I'm pretty sure she's pretty damn good. Also, she's averaging like 30 points a game in the WNBA. That's only, 8 to 9 points less than what she averaged in college. 4 months ago, like 4 months ago, she's playing against college women, and now she's playing against professional women, and she's doing the same thing. To say that she has not earned a spot is a very tough question when it comes to the Olympics. For the most part, I've never watched a WNBA game or the Women's Basketball Olympics. Just how it is, usually doesn't interest me, or it's at a weird time, and why would I watch it? I've watched a lot of Caitlin Clark games. I've watched a lot of Haley Van Lith. I've watched a lot of Camilla. I watched a documentary with Camilla and Kiki. I don't think that I would still watch the Women's Olympics. I'll just wait for the statistics to come out about people watching it, because I cannot believe that the most viewed person and someone as talented as her is going to be left off this roster. Are the other girls just as talented? Yeah, no, for sure. I just think that, in particular, Diana Rossi, who has played in over 170 games, been to now her 6th Olympics, could have been left off and put the young girl into the chaining of the guard. Like the old captain brings in the new one. This is a girl who's going to be here for the next 6. Why not give her the shot now? We let Christian Laettner be on the dream team. And anyone knows me knows I'm a Duke fan. I love Christian Laettner. I don't know if he should have been on that dream team over fucking Isaiah Thomas. Like, let's be fucking for real here. Like, Isaiah Thomas was one of the best damn players in the NBA against teams just like Jordan's. And it seems like this young kid who's already been under our skin and already has some issue with our Diana Rossi, which is Michael Jordan at the time. Let's go with someone else. So Christian Laettner gets it. But yet, we don't let Caitlin Clark get it. Don't understand that. I really don't. I mean, who knows? Maybe we'll look at this as a blessing in disguise, because now she'll work even harder and she'll just have basically a Kobe rise to infinity and beyond at this point, because I don't know how you don't use this as motivation. Because if you get put on the team now at this point, it looks like a pity thing, and I wouldn't want that. To transition to football, everything's gearing up when it comes to college football, NFL. We're actually starting to see a lot of the different rookie mini camps, OT, specialty workouts. We're looking at some of the, transfer portal stuff. Soccer-wise, if you're, international soccer fan like myself, I am a Real Madrid fan, so we just won our Champions League again. We just signed Mbappe. Like, things are looking up and up when it comes to sports. Like, it's not major headlines except for the Caitlin Clark in basketball, but, like, Champions League was fun. Hockey nearing its end. I'm a Carolina Hurricanes fan, so we lost to, the Rangers in a close series. Like, it's been an interesting year of sports. I'm also an Alabama fan for anyone who's follows football. My teams span a broad spectrum. But I think for the end of this episode, I'll just leave you with this little tidbit. When I got into the sport of powerlifting, I looked at it as the next escape for me out from sports. Because for 2 years, I had no idea what I was going to be doing. I'm newly married, I moved to a brand new city, and I have no job. Magically, things started to work out to where I had a job, but I had no time. I had a couple of friends that were like, hey man, you should come to the gym. Started going to the gym a little bit, doing the basic stuff. I did not know that just entering the gym with some friends and experiencing this side of the the strength sports realm that it would ever lead me to this part of where I'm at in my life. So to say all of that, it's basically to don't turn down opportunities that just seem not your thing. Because back then, I would have told you I hate deadlifting. I never did it in college. We didn't do it in high school. It's supposed to hurt my back, but it doesn't. I'm pretty good at it. All we ever did was bench in college football. I love squatting, and they definitely told us to stop squatting my junior year after I blew out my knee. You can't look at someone extending a hand into helping you heal or get out and be more social, or even something just as casual as that. Let's just go and get some, reps in. You can't look at it and just say, nah, it's not my thing. I don't want to do it, because it very well might turn out to be your thing. I don't know if you only go to extreme as I did, which is open up a gym, but not everyone's me. But anyways, I have loved just doing this little screen rant with you guys. I'll probably drop one every couple of weeks. It's not a very hard thing for me to do now. Got a nice little setup. And I'll see you next time on Controlled Chaos.
Right, do what I should, right. Point, right. Do what I could, right.